Hello, good morning. Today we're going to be talking about Mayan religion. The Mayans really centered their lives around religion. All of their village was surrounding the center where they had a religious temple. The temple would be super tall, reaching the sky to represent reaching the gods. And it was a place for people to celebrate. It was a place for people to perform rituals, to perform ceremonies. And a lot of historians currently are learning about the Mayan culture, and what we know is from artifacts and documents that they have found in these religious centers. The Mayan religion was polytheistic. Poly means more than one, and they had actually over 160 gods. And a lot of these gods actually had to do with forces of nature. So these gods were gods that controlled harvest. They were gods that controlled the rain. They were gods that controlled the corn, gods that controlled death, things that kind of center around people's daily lives. They had a god for about everything that they experienced on a day-to-day level. And a lot of the Mayan gods had animal-like characteristics, and the jaguar was actually one of the most important animals to the Mayans. So nothing happened before you consulted the gods, because it was extremely important to the people that they pleased the gods constantly, because the same god that brought rain for their crops could also bring death to their crops. So it was extremely important to please the gods first and foremost before making literally any decision in their life. They would go to the priest who would practice omens, who would predict the future, who knew these divine signs to please the gods. And so they would consult the priest first before they made any even small decision in their lives. So Mayans sacrificed things like plants, food, flowers, feathers, jade, etc. But they believed that the thing that the gods desired most was blood. So they sacrificed the blood of animals and sometimes even humans. Yeah, they killed humans to sacrifice to the gods, which is kind of intense. They usually sacrificed orphans, slaves, and captives or hostages. So there's a game called Pakatak in the Mayan culture, and this game had to do with a leather ball, and all the members who were playing wore elbow pads on their wrists, on their hips, and it was padded by leather as well. And they would use their elbow, their wrists, and their hips to kind of get these balls through a ring. And it usually occurred between two rivaling noble groups. But if you lost the game, it had severe consequences. There's art that shows from the Mayan time that whoever lost would be sacrificed to the gods, and the captain of the team would be beheaded for the gods as well. So this is not just any ball game. So the Mayans created two calendars based on their knowledge of mathematics and astronomy. One of these calendars had to do with daily life. The other had to do with religion. And so the daily life calendar had 18 months, and it was based around the sun orbiting around the earth once, like we use today. And so it had 18 months, but each month had 20 days in it, and there were also 5 unlucky days. So if you add up all the days, it also equals 365 days, like we have in our calendar. However, the religious calendar was a bit different. So like I said, the religious calendar works a little bit differently, and it's called the Tzolk'in, and it is called, or it's otherwise known as the sacred round because it's round shaped. And only the priest was able to decipher the meaning of the sacred round. But essentially it worked in a 13-month calendar with 20 days each. So it's definitely a shorter calendar as it only makes 260 days in all. But it works in these cycles. Okay, one cycle was made of the numbers 1 to 13, and the other cycle was a set of 20. And each day combination of the cycles makes up a god. And every 260 days, a combination of number and names would create an ik, is what they called it. The hidden meaning of the sacred rounds is something that only the priest could decipher, like I said before. And the priest would then tell everyone what days to plant, what days to battle, what days to do religious ceremonies, because the priest knew exactly what days to do that according to the religious calendar, according to which god was represented on the religious calendar, etc. And it shows that the Mayans were a pretty advanced civilization. They knew exactly what days to plant and harvest, and it created a really stable food supply for them.